Welcome back to Cure of the Common Game. Today, in deck number 913, we're going to talk about Mahadi, Emporium Master. Pretty neat little cat devil here. We got 3/3 for 3. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. That one sentence tells us everything we need to know about the deck. We want to, A, have a lot of creatures die so we can have a lot of treasures, and then get a benefit for having said treasures. Now, if that line looks kind of familiar, it's because it's the same line as the second line on Gadrak, the Crown Scourge. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. So, we want to kill creatures. We want to kill our opponent's creatures, which is not a bad strategy to go. But we need to do it reliably. Yes, we've got some removal with Comet Storm and Blasphemous Act, but we're not always going to have that. Those are not constant sources of removal. So I looked at Pestilence. Because as long as you can keep a creature on the board, everything takes one. It wipes away those pesky tokens, things like that. And we are in black and red. Red got a color-shifted version in Future Sight, of course, Pyrohemia. Arguably where it should have been to begin with. But the only problem is we've got to keep a creature alive in order to maximize the longevity of these. So that's why we're playing with Brash Taunter and Stuffy Doll, to make sure those stay out there. That way our Pestilence lives forever, and if we get lucky enough to find our Death Pits of Wrath, everything just dies all the time. Now, I know this kills our commander as well, if it takes damage, obviously, from the Pestilence or the Pyrohemia, but you're not always going to draw it. And then Ding a Staff, because if we're killing creatures, why not make them pay for it, and the most beautiful part about this deck is it is a black deck that is probably going to have some artifacts laying around in the form of treasures. So we get to play with Cranial Plating. I love Cranial Plating. It is a black color identity card, even though it's an artifact, because it's got that casting or the attach cost down there. Which, FY, for those that are, because it took me a while. I was playing when this came out in original Mirrodin block, but equip cost is a sorcery speed ability. It equips for 1, but now each color got a small equipment that had an equip cost and an attach cost. Now that you can do at instant speed, because it's black, attach it. It's not an equip cost. You're just attaching it to a creature you control. So it's really, really good mid-combat trick, because most people don't think about, swapping equipments from creature to creature in the middle of combat. That's one of the reasons why I love Cranial Plating so much. So let's get to our ramp, shall we? Of course, we got our Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Fire Diamond, Charcoal Diamond. I'm loving this Decanter of Endless Water. I mean, yeah, it's a 3-mana any color rock. You shake a tree and those fall off, But just to throw on, you have no max hand size. We typically get something else with our 3-mana rock, like Seer's Lantern will let us years ago for the group. I've always heard that scrying 1 is like half a card draw. I disagree. I think it's like a third. Anyway, Lantern of Revealing, Mindstone, Wayfarer's Bauble, Bloodstone cameo from way back in the day where we didn't get nothing else besides Felwar Stone, Honored Heirloom, gotta have our Burnished Heart. Like I said, there's a lot of rocks, and then the Fractured Power Stone. We do, in my group, play Plane Chase quite a bit, and if not, it's a 2-mana mana rock. I mean, it's not bad. But a card draw, to Reckoner's Bargain and Ambition's Cost, really close, drawn 3, Sign of Blood. Now, I like Shadowheart just simply because sack another creature. X is that creature's power. Shoot, why not? But I wanted to have some more treasure makers. Now, yes, if you've got the 10 treasure you win thing, that's awesome. Play it. I highly recommend it. I just didn't have one. But treasure makers. Now, Ancient Copper Dragon makes a little bit of treasure if I'm not rolling the dice. I have attacked with this. I have several times now. Because this deck's been played quite a bit. I have never rolled above a 5. However, when other people play it, like Jim rolls 18s. Yeah, it's silly. Marching Duodrone's not the best. I know everybody gets a treasure. I know. There are probably better options. This is probably where the instant win card needs to be. Blood Money. It wipes the board, and then you get more treasures. Deadly Dispute. Draw 2 cards, get a treasure. Professional Facebreaker. Yeah, it's not bad. And then Kalan, the Reclusive Painter. I like the additional +1/+1 for each mana from a treasure spent, because that that gives us a purpose to use our treasure. And as we're using our treasure, the Disciple is going to help out along the way. Because if we sack that treasure, it's pretty neat. We got the Ancient Brass Dragon. We're into the regular creatures now. Now, I have Squeeze in there, simply because of the Pyrohemia thing, and he's easy to get back. You can just cast him from anywhere. I wonder if we're going to get a new Squeeze that just lets you cast it from anywhere. You can cast it from your library. That would be cool. The Meosian, 7 damage to each of up to 3 targets. Okay. The Magmatic Force, each upkeep. That's what I love about the Magmatic Force. You get a free lightning bolt on everybody's turn. Stuff is gonna die. Italy, I mean, that's just card advantage. And I don't know why I thought Italy flew. It's just something in my mind. I mean, it's a dinosaur. There's no wings. There's no reason why I should think it should fly. But it's a really good card. We got the Mayhem Devil. I mean, sacrifice is a permanent. That's using a treasure. Reaper, if something didn't die, or if something did die, destroy a non-demon creature. It's all about removal. Inferno Titan, Brock, Ingenious Artillerist. Got a little more, artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn. You get a construct. That's also an artifact. So you don't lose anything for your cranial plating. You sack a treasure, you get a construct. But it only triggers once each turn. See, I think they invented that line because of Commander players. I really do. Armor of Shadows. Obviously, this is to save your something. That emergency button. I can't let that die of mine. Now, before I get into the removal, you've seen all the mana rocks and all the treasure creators. And I know, I woke up and chose Darkside when I built this deck. There's a certain logic to Wildfire. Now, granted, there are times you're going to draw it and you're not going to want to cast it. But there are times when you are absolutely wanting to cast it. My favorite time to cast a Wildfire is on a properly set up turn 4 or 5. If maybe you got your early mana rocks and you've got 2 or 3 mana rocks, one of which produces, either color or any color, and it's very because by turn 4, everybody's generally got their opening hand lands in play, and we're stuck on top deck mode for lands. Now, I know it slows down a game. It does. But it kills most of the early creatures. Wow, it just started raining heavy. Anyway, but it doesn't affect us as bad because we have all the rocks and the treasures and the indestructible dudes. So why not? Now, I only ran this one. I didn't run the Wildfire +1. I can't think of it right now. But anyway. So let's quickly go through this removal here. We have In Garrick's Wake, Hex, Chain Reaction. I like Famine. Arms of Hadar. This gets around. They're indestructible. Yes, that's a Homeland's dry spell. 1 damage to each creature and player. I can't tell you how valuable this is. Early turns. What have you got? Mana Elves, Birds of Paradise, probably some white 1 toughness. You got to pay more stuff. I mean, dry spell really, really helps early on. Incinerate and Lightning Bolt. Invoke Despair. Of course, got to have Feed the Swarm and Vandal Blast. I love that Fireball art. Cast down Shivan Meteor for when something absolutely, positively has to go. And then Murder. Which brings us to our non-basic lands. Got some, I love the Encroaching Waste because this is a thing we have to be prepared for is those special lands. Whether it's a Maze of Ith, a Gas Cradle, a flipped Azcanta, is that what it is, the better cradle? There are tons of lands out there that create a problem. Emeria, Urborg, Cabal Coffers. I mean, there's a bunch of them that are very popular. A lot of people play. And there have been times when I've played decks and I'm like, well, I can get in with 1 creature, but there's a maze. Anyway. Evolving Wilds, Command Tower, Luxury Suite, Terramorphic, Thriving Bluff, Drawsforge Bridge, Cliffgate, Black Dragon Gate, Tramway Station, Rakdos Guildgate. A lot of gates nowadays. Power Depot, Ash Barrens, and lastly, the Occam Refuge. And that is, as I said, I have played it several times. It does keep the board clear of creatures now. Especially if you get one of those board wipe on a stick, Pyrohemia, But that is it. As per my new thing, I am just going to end the video here. Not going to go to the wall because, quite frankly, right now we can't see the wall. So many boxes. Got to, still in this home renovation project. It's going to last a while, a couple months. So that's where I'm going to end. I'll be happy to get back to some degree of normalcy. Maybe we'll do it by Christmas. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.